Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 18 of Let's Talk Soul to Soul. I'm Annalisa, and I'm very much looking forward to today's conversation with my spirited soul sister, Audrey, who will be jumping on any moment. So I welcome all of you beautiful souls who are joining us from wherever you are to get comfortable. Maybe get yourself a hot or a cold drink. You're welcome to drop a comment, let us know where you're joining from, and feel free to use that little comment section if you want to share at all during this soul to soul. It is a real, it kind of feels surreal that we're doing this. But I truly believe that this energy of connecting, even through this kind of third party here, indirectly, still generates such miracle working potential. And so thank you for choosing to spend this time with us. I will be also recording this, so you're welcome to share it with friends, family, anyone who you feel might benefit from this soul to soul conversation. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Annalisa, and I'm here in Banff on this beautiful day. No snow is falling, unlike previous soul to souls when there's been snow on the ground. And Audrey is joining us, I believe, from Costa Rica. So just waiting for her to jump on. And as I said, please feel free to use that comment section if you want to share a comment. If you have a question, you're always welcome. Thank you. And you know, the purpose of these conversations is really to illuminate the stories of people like you and me who have journeyed through something, whatever that may be, and have a mission to share, have lessons that they want to share. And this is just one way that we can hold space for these types of conversations, hold sacred space. And so that's what Let's Talk Soul to Soul is all about. Awesome. We'll just give Audrey a few moments to get on, and there she is, right on time. Look at this. Fantastic. All right, Audrey, there we go. We're gonna just add you. See how this connection goes. You know, technology is amazing in a lot of ways. Allowing us to communicate as we are. And Audrey, I'm just accepting for you to join me live. Let's see if you're getting this. Okay. I know you're there somewhere, Audrey. I've accepted the request. Okay, let's see here. We'll try this. This is always a fun part. But, you know, we've learned to just roll with things in life, especially you mothers out there. I'm sure you've learned how to roll with a lot more than just this. And so, Audrey, if you can hear me, the one thing that I find is joining by phone tends to work better than trying to join by, say, a laptop. So let's see if we can make this happen. I know I'm super excited for this conversation. It's the anticipation, Audrey, of your arrival. Okay, just.
All right, I'm on. There I am.
Oh my God, Audrey!
It looks like it took probably it looks like there's like a 2-minute kind of delay for it to process, but I'm here.
Oh, Audrey, thank you so much for joining today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh, and Audrey, just to share with our guests, are you joining us from Costa Rica?
I'm here in Costa Rica. It is super hot, but I have the air conditioning on. I think it's a Canadian thing. So I like the cold, nippy feeling on my skin. So yeah, I am here. I'm coming back to Canada. I would say in the next 4 weeks or so. We're heading into rainy season here in Costa Rica, and it rains like almost every day. So it's summer or spring, summerish in Canada. So this is the time that I like to kind of go back, visit family, stay for a few months, and then come back to Costa Rica.
Wonderful. Well, we will be happy to welcome you back to Canada. And as you may be seeing, we've got some of our soul family joining.
I see that.
I just want to welcome everyone. There are some new family members here who may not know me. My name is Annalisa, and this is episode 18, of Let's Talk Soul to Soul, which really, Audrey, blossomed soon after I first met you in October of 2023, at a time when I was desperately, at times it felt like, seeking outlets for my soul's mission to contribute in meaningful ways.
Absolutely.
Like I had been for most of my life, you know, Audrey. And so the purpose, the intent of these conversations is simply to create sacred spaces where beautiful souls, brothers and sisters, can share their journeys, their lessons, their missions, their gifts.
Thank you.
And contribute to not only individual healing, because this is all so important for us as individuals, but the collective flourishing. Because that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Right. And I know that our paths were meant to intersect when they did. I know that with all my heart. And so I invite all of you who have joined us to just really settle into this beautiful moment that we have together. Exhale into this beautiful moment of now. And this space that we are creating energetically, it is so powerful, this space. Simply by holding each other with honor, with love, and knowing that we are connected no matter where we are in this world. We are one. And so my intention for this conversation is that it may also spark in you, perhaps, those of you who have joined us, this sense of possibility, this energy that perhaps you're keeping bottled or that's seeking outlets, as mine was and is in many ways. Because this is the movement forward, a birthing of a new way of being that is so innately who we are, which is what is making all of this possible, Audrey. And so before I introduce you, my dear soul sister, I want to give thanks to another one of, I call them trail angels, who fell into my parachute out of the sky. Literally, I felt that. Lori from Merkaba Health Collective, and she was also a guest on Let's Talk Soul to Soul.
Right.
She brought a beautiful new paradigm for holistic health and wellness through a health directory holistic health directory that she has created within Canada and beyond. Lori shared this vision and has partnered with Let's Talk Soul to Soul and is offering any holistic health practitioner 10% off of the annual subscription.
Amazing.
As a member. And so I will include all of that in the notes that follow. So Audrey, I'll add you as a collaborator so that you can share and edit this video, whatever you know how to do, whatever you desire, and there will be links as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And my friends, you know, it really is. It's a joy. It's an honor. I'm so excited, Audrey, to welcome you because, you know, this is how I felt when I first heard in October, shortly after I had joined the Sovereign CEO, that you were going to be doing, and I've got some notes here because I had to remind myself, you were doing a workshop and it was called Protect and Grow Your Finances. And I was like, wow, I want you to know, everyone, finances is not my thing. I have for years worked hard for institutions that I believed in fervently and benefited from in many ways. I just trusted blindly in a lot of cases where what I was doing with my finances, and I had guidance, but there was something else at this time. There was that, no, there's more. And when I saw what you were doing, I was like, okay, wow, I'm going to join this. I shared it with my friends. You should have seen me during your presentation. I was texting my friend who's actually on this call, my sister. I was so excited, not by the information you were sharing about finances necessarily, but about who you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who you are, the gift that you are.
Thank you.
And that you were so generously sharing. And so you helped to move some of that energy stuck in hopelessness and like, I know there's something else. That is such a gift you have, Audrey.
Thank you.
And so, you know, you didn't just, you know, appear here. You bring with you a robust, to put it mildly, 22-year career in corporate and business finance with Fortune 500 companies, during which you were actually also nominated in 2019 as one of the top women in finance across Canada. And Audrey, I hope you don't mind. I want to shine the spotlight on you.
Yeah, it's all
Before I
good.
hand it over, I'm just going to share a few more points.
Absolutely.
I mean, I could go on and on, Audrey, but and this is just, again, to just illuminate why what you're doing to educate, empower, to embolden is so important. So you bring this background and you chose to leave what you call the training ground. That training ground, I love that. I love that, how you looked at it, so amazing. To step into your divine responsibility and power as a mother. And you now combine your 22 years of technical finance, your diverse skills, your heart-centered passion for growth with energetics to empower mothers and women. Because I'm not a mother, but you have empowered. I got to tell you, you sparked something in me as well. To embrace freedom and build a legacy of wealth for their children based on their divine mission. And this birthing is so beautiful, Audrey, for mothers, but also I think those of us who are feel like this is what we're doing. We're actually birthing
Mhm.
this new way.
Mhm.
And so I hand this over to you, Audrey. Wherever your beautiful heart leads you, I shall follow.
Amazing,
Thank you.
amazing. No, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Sometimes I forget, like, wow, I did live that life, because it was so deep in the matrix, and I've been out of it for quite some time now. I'm here in Costa Rica, so it feels like 10 lifetimes ago. And I just hearing you reiterate that, I'm like, wow, that was the training ground. And so, but it made me embody, so much of who I am today. And you said a couple of interesting things, as I was listening to you. You said, finances is not my thing, but I
Yeah.
want to shift for you that wealth is actually your birthright. So
Yes.
finances is your thing. But what happened was the matrix was overlaid on top of all of our birthrights, and we
Mm-hmm.
forgot. We forgot that we have unlimited access to optimal health, because health is number one of your wealth. So optimal health, unlimited finances, access to resources, not just money, but water, shelter, security, community. We have access to all of that. So I just want to shift for you that finances is for you. It's for everyone.
Yes.
We all have that God-given birthright to that. And now we're just in this beautiful journey, albeit hard at times, to remember that we have to reclaim that. So that
Yes.
was one thing. And the second thing that I picked up with you was, you mentioned you're not a mother, but we connected because you have a womb. You're a woman.
Yes.
You don't have to you don't have to birth child. What you're tapped into is the source energy of bringing things from the void, from the unseen into the seen. That is the power of the womb, and you have that.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
it's you. It's you.
Yes.
I'm just witnessing that. I'm just witnessing you
Yes.
in that. And so, part of how I manage wealth, before we get into the spreadsheets and all of the technical
Yes.
number crunching, is to recognize and honor a woman in that space, because we are infinite, unlimited creator beings. And before the matrix was overlaid onto us, in my belief system, we were God's money managers,
Mm-hmm.
because we have the power of the womb. We have unlimited abundance. We can literally create out of thin air. We literally create human life within our bodies without any explanation. And that
Yes.
multiplies generation after generation after generation. So we do that with human life. Imagine what we do with money. And
Yes.
and
Yes.
so money is just, the physical manifestation of everything that's already within us. So after I left my career, I guess I'll go back to, 2020, March 2020, when COVID
Yes.
happened, and
Yes.
and everyone was kind of forced to stay inside. And what I like to say is everyone was forced to go inside. And I'm not talking about your house. I'm talking about your inner
Exactly.
vessel. Everyone was forced to go inside. We all had to kind of soul search and face ourselves. Whether you did it or not, I know that this kind of container attracts the people that do the inner work. And so what
Yeah.
during that time, I had to make a lot of really, really hard decisions with what was existing physically in my life. And I had to make a lot of very hard shifts, whether it was willing or not. So I decided I'm going to stand up for truth. I'm going to stand up for our charter rights. But with that, with stepping into that space, a lot of stuff has to leave.
Yeah.
That includes relationships, that includes, access to certain monies, because obviously if you didn't comply, you lost access to certain ways of life. And so I decided, okay, you know what? I've been in the matrix for 20 years. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
serve me anymore. So how am I going
Mm-hmm.
to shift? I tried really hard to stay in Canada as well.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was so hard on the other side of protecting our charter rights, our freedoms, and just speaking
Yeah.
my truth. My throat chakra was wide open. I didn't care what anyone thought of me.
Yeah.
And so once everything left, and that included, my relationships, my career, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, what's next? Because that's the beauty of speaking your truth, is that you have a clean slate to now do
Mm-hmm.
literally whatever you want with
Mm-hmm.
no accountability to anyone but yourself. And that is true in situations, but I know that when we're in relationships, or I have a child,
Yeah.
we meet in the middle. And so that was the beauty of that time, is that when things leave, you now have the space to create whatever it is you want.
Yeah.
And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to take all of this knowledge, all of this finance knowledge, this very heady, confusing knowledge that dims people's light on purpose, and I'm going to alchemize this, and I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to deliver it to the people in a way that empowers them. And so I was working on Quantum 11 prior to actually opening my Instagram. I was like helping people on the side, because even though I was speaking my truth, to open up a business
Yeah.
that then was a platform for me to speak my truth was a little bit nerve-wracking, but I did anyhow. And I had my soapbox of like 2 to 3 people, and I was going to give those 3 people 1,000% of me. And I
Wow.
spoke about all the things: the great reset, QR codes, the digital transformation in banking, how to get out of the system, not just from a money standpoint, but from an access to resource standpoint, from finding like-minded communities so that you can all help each other during these times, as
Yeah.
the pressure starts to mount, as the walls continue to close in, you have your channels outwards. And so that was 4 years ago, and fast forward to today, it's what I do full time. But I am shifting, because
Yeah.
I had another awakening, because there's awakening to the matrix. That
Yeah.
is level one. You realize how the world works, but that's not true awakening until you actually awaken to yourself,
Yeah.
until you're actually willing to look in the mirror, face your shadows, and say, okay, like, this is who I am, stripped raw. If I get rid of
Yeah.
all of the titles, all of the labels, all of the people that tell me who I am and who I'm not, who am I? And really just like the essence of your soul, and coming back to that, that's the awakening. Like, that to me
Yeah.
is the great awakening. Like, who
Yeah.
who are we? And so now I'm at that phase with my finance business. And what I realized over the last 3 months, because again, like, as you go into the next level, you have to do another strip down.
Yeah.
You have to do another, letting go and
Yeah.
surrendering before you get to the next level. And the business that I built 4 years ago, which was a lot of, education on the Great Reset and how to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, you know what, Audrey, that doesn't really resonate anymore, because I
Mm-hmm.
built that from a space of instinct and anger of what was
Mm-hmm.
happening with
Mm-hmm.
the world. But it's not that it was bad, because it was that fire that got me to, leave Canada and build this platform to be able to empower people with their money in a different way.
Yeah.
But that time has passed, and the armor is off. I don't need to be
Yeah.
hard anymore. I don't need to be
Yeah.
hard anymore. I have my son. I want to be in my soft and surrendered state. I want to create from the space of my womb, not from the space of my angry instinct. So,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm at now. It's a beautiful space, because
Yeah.
when you tap into that it's like a well. It's a well of unlimited abundance. And I know that might sound kind of, untangible, like things
Oh,
that might be out of reach, but and I understand that it's a journey there, but once you
yeah.
get there, you're just like,
Yeah.
wow, I am my own money printer. I can
Yeah.
literally think of an idea, and someone's willing to exchange my service, and I see my value, and they see my value, and I can exchange
Yeah.
that for money. I've become my own money printer.
Yeah.
And I'm creating from that space with ease and grace as a woman, because men create very differently. But as a woman is so freeing. It's so freeing.
Yeah.
And that's my next mission, is to help and guide women, because I am no one's guru. I don't like to take that
Yeah.
title at all. I'm just here
Yeah.
to guide. But I would love for women to remember that power
Mm-hmm.
that they already have, that is innate within them, to create from their womb, from their soul's purpose, and
Yeah.
value themselves so highly that they become their own money printer, and they take themselves out of the matrix. They have no choice but to create, and people
Yeah.
have no choice but to exchange for, what they're here to actually do. And that's the new paradigm for me. And out of that, I created a program called Wealthy Woman.
Yeah.
And it really is to service, like I say on my page, mothers with young children. I'll get to that in
Yeah.
a second, but it's really women who are connected to their womb space and their wombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a creation energy that is literally untapped, that the world is waiting for. The world is waiting for you. That's
Yeah.
who the world is waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
So with Wealthy Woman, that was born over the last probably 7 months. I started feeling that I wanted to serve women, because
Yeah.
I was moving into the softer side of myself.
Yeah.
I don't need to be hard anymore. So I
Yeah.
was feeling, you know what, I'm more drawn to the women now. But
Mm-hmm.
in December, I remember I co-sleep with my son, and I remember it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up and I couldn't go back to bed. And I was like, oh man, like I only get like 2 hours of sleep a night. Like, Audrey,
Yeah.
go to bed. But I couldn't. So I got up and I started writing. And I very rarely write. I'm a spreadsheet girl. So I'm always on the computer typing out numbers. But I found myself journaling at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was an apology letter to my womb, and
Oh, yeah.
apologizing to my womb for mistreating her, for not
Mm.
recognizing how creative and how divinely designed my womb is. It was a full blown apology letter, and I didn't know why. And I was like, oh, wow, like I feel that. I feel all of this is just flowing out of me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this, but I know I'm like deeply, deeply sorry for the way I've just ignored my womb space, the way I've ignored myself, essentially. And I
Mm-hmm.
need to reconcile with that. And so I wrote out that letter. And then that was in December. And then in January, I don't know what came over me, but I was like, I need to shift my business. I got rid of like 80% of my cash flow, of the clients that were bringing cash flow, because it wasn't in resonance anymore. And I'm like, oh dear God, what did I just do? I am a single mother. Um,
Yeah.
it was like a massive shift collectively. I lost like 2 clients in that month. And then on top of that, I voluntarily exited a bunch of clients that lowered my cash flow by 80%. Dear God, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And then in February, I was running my retreat. So that's another
Yeah.
$20,000 outlay in expenses. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting hit from all ends. I cut off my cash flow. I have these huge
Mm-hmm.
expenses coming out. What did I just do? And
Mm-hmm.
I sat in prayer, and he was like, you sowed your seeds. Like, that's what you
Mm-hmm.
did. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. He goes, I gave you the seeds to sow, and you just sowed them. He goes, trust me. And I'm like, okay. So I trusted him, as I always do, as I always do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes he makes you feel the squeeze tighter on some days than others. So rebirth happens. My retreat happens in Costa Rica, and it was beautiful in all the ways. In that it wasn't, it was a huge learning experience. Let's just put
Mm-hmm.
it that way. It was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful in the good, the bad, the ugly, because anyone in any kind of death and rebirth cycle of their soul,
Yeah.
but maybe even physically, like whatever, it's messy. It's super messy. So
Yeah.
that experience, I'm going to be honest with you, was a messy one for me. It was super eye-opening. and it shook me to my core because I realized so much of what I didn't want that it birthed what I do want. And so what I learned was women are unsupported. Women with young mothers need a ton of support, that there's a lot of disconnection between mother and child,
Yes.
and it's imparted into us from the systems of the matrix. You know, I live in Latin America, okay, and I lived in Canada, in North America, for the first 34 years, 35 years of my life.
Mhm.
And I can see the distinct difference now between how mother and child are celebrated in North American systems versus Latin American systems.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that in North America, there is so much separation between the mother and the child at such young, tender stages of the child's development, which is specifically the
Mhm.
first 7 years.
Yes.
So as soon as a woman gives birth, what do? And it's, imparted as soon as you give birth, the doctors and the nurses separate the child from the mother,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, fast forward to the mother bringing the child home. She's at home for, if you're in the US, maybe 3 months. I don't know. I don't remember what their mat leave is. 3 months. And the mother is separated from the child to
Yeah.
go back to work. In
Yeah.
Canada, it's 12 to 18 months. Mother is separated from the child to go back to serve her boss.
Yes.
And then the child is put in, separate systems where, they're learned and taught different things in different ways that I don't necessarily resonate with. And so what I realized from that was there's so much disconnection from the mother and the child. And so when I go
Mhm.
into a place where mothers not only have to be the nurturer, the ones who breastfeed, the ones who care for the child, we are now also taking on the masculine role of protector and provider. And so we do
Mhm.
everything. And so I understand if women feel resentment and discomfort when there is a mother with a child around,
Yeah.
because what it taps into, at least in my belief system, is if a mother has children, of the level of unsupport that, or the lack of support rather, that they had when they were raising their children. And so what birthed out of that was, I need to bring mothers and children back together. But it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that a mom can't make $1 million a year,
Yeah.
because she can.
Yes.
I think that a mom can make $5 million a year if she's creating from her soul's purpose with her child around. And so I make
Yeah.
it a point to, live out my soul's purpose with Gabriel with me. He comes to circle with me. He comes to meetings with me. And I really truly believe that a mother, I understand, times where a mother, needs to kind of retreat a little bit to get her
Mhm.
alone time, to
Mhm.
reconnect. We all need that, but I don't believe in this matrix that's been, overlaid onto us, where everything is about separate the mother from the child, put the mother in the workspace, get her to pay, tax, get her to serve a work husband instead of her actual husband, get her to serve her company instead of her family. That's the matrix I don't believe in. It's not that I'm saying women cannot be separated from their child. It's just the
Mhm.
programming of separation and disconnection. That is what I'm totally against. And I do believe that there's that ancient wisdom that we are awakening to,
Yes.
where
Yes.
children and women do co-create together. It's one of the most creative and expansive energies that keep this world alive, that keep it
Yeah.
sustained. And now we're in a space where women are being replaced. People don't know what a woman is anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, wow,
Yeah.
like how much does a woman have to be reduced before
Yeah.
people wake up? And
Yeah.
how much have we been so removed from our true nature, from our superpower,
Yes.
um, that, to see like an actual woman in her natural state is triggering for other women. Like, that to
Yeah.
me is wild.
Yeah.
That to me is
Yeah.
wild. So
Yeah.
that's what Wealthy Woman is about, and it's to support mothers with the young children, to help them reclaim their power to
Yes,
abundance, to
yes,
co-create with their children the lives that they want, to bring them back in the home. Um, that's what that is. And so here I am. And then
yes.
Quantum 11 is still there, but serving in a different way. But Wealthy Woman, I know, is going to be a huge reawakening in this next chapter, and it's to bring the family units back together.
Beautiful. Audrey, you've touched on so much. This remembering
Mm-hmm.
is so key for all of us. Remembering our divinity,
Mm-hmm.
the sacredness of life, all ages, all stages, regardless of background, regardless of status. I say from immigration to vaccination, it does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see with you, Audrey, and I see with many of us who as one of our dear guests commented, we've gone through this battle. We've actually gone through it. We didn't avoid it. We faced it
Mm-hmm.
head on, and that was necessary, as you've explained so beautiful, for everything that was not serving us to be completely shed. It had to erode, crumble, and the essence of who we are revealed. And so many of us, like you, I used to say I had my boxing gloves on.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my heart, I could feel it hardening. I could feel it hardening as layer upon layer got into protection mode. And what was interesting, Audrey, is I worked with many who, as you say, I know I'm a mother. I know I'm a nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my call from before I was born. I was born into love, for this role. And working with kids through and adults and immigrants, and now with my mom with dementia, and working at this and being involved, companioning at this stage of life, which is still sacred. I trace back that relationship that I have with my mom that began before me even coming into the world, is one that now it is what connects us
Mm-hmm.
so beautifully. We don't even need words. It doesn't matter if she doesn't remember my name necessarily. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
So
beautiful.
I look at what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think about my mom.
Yeah, yeah. And you're continuing her legacy, and
Yeah, yeah,
you're doing it in service to her, and you chose her, your soul chose her,
yes,
because your soul also needs to learn some lessons on this earth plane. And so, and that's, it's so beautiful. And I love that, and thank you for sharing that, because that's the thing, like having these connections and these bonds, and remembering that that is really the what life is about, is
yeah,
being that beacon of light, being in love, being of service, being around community, and stepping into that is really what we're truly meant to do. We're not meant to sit in these cubicle boxes for 9 hours a day in a box building under fake lighting when the sun is out, like, and that's the work, that's the service that gets praised, not the service that we do to our families, not the care that you're giving to your mother. It's something that is so upside down, and I want to be able to flip that on its head.
yes,
Like, I just,
yes,
however, like, I'm just putting it out there. I don't know what this is going to turn into now. It's kind of similar to how I built Quantum 11. I just spoke whatever I needed to speak about, and however it was supposed to land in people, and how the business was going to expand and evolve. I had no, like, real roadmap for it, because that's the thing with what you're doing, as an example, with your
yeah,
soul to soul talks, with what I'm doing with Quantum 11, is that there is no roadmap. If you're in the work of trailblazing, healing, expanding, there's no
yes,
roadmap. You create it.
yes,
And there's no pathway. you're taking one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, and the path is getting laid as you walk. And
Yes.
so, I honor you in your journey and taking care of your mother and taking care of the children and taking care of, the people around you. That is your calling, and that's amazing. And that's what I want more women to step into, is like, what lights you on fire? What is it that is really your soul's purpose, and
Yeah.
how are you going to contribute? Because that's the space in which we create from, not from, we got to get up, go to that 9 to 5 job. So we're there for 8 hours. We cook dinner. We don't have time for ourselves. And then you're in bed by 9. Like, and you do that for 40 years to collect,
Mhm.
50% of your registered retirement savings, which, we've seen the taxes come through for Canada. Like,
Yeah.
all of their proposals are 5 to 10 points higher than they were. Like,
Yeah.
that's insanity to me.
Yeah.
That's just survival mode. It's not
Yeah.
thriving. We're meant to thrive, and we're meant to
Yeah.
have access to all those things already. And people are coming back to that remembrance. And so it does happen in stages. It does happen with, like, a talk that you see on Instagram, or a yearning that you have inside, or maybe a walk
Mhm.
that you have in nature. Like, something will nudge you. Something will
Yeah.
nudge you, and that's how you're going to get the signs, the messages. And with this type of work, with this type of future, there's no handbook, there's no Google
Yeah.
search, there's nothing in writing, because everything is within you. All of the information is within
Yeah.
you, and people are awakening to that.
Yes. Oh, Audrey, what I love about these conversations is this is exactly what it was intended for,
Mhm.
to just create a space where voices are heard, ideas shared, and we just don't know what that's sparking. And for me, those years where I couldn't freely talk like this about things of the heart that mattered, it was it was slowly eating away at me, but
Yeah.
no more. And we are committed now, I think, to this place of, you know what, there's no looking back. We will not allow what happened to blanket us in the same way. But this idea of this awakening, and for me, it's awaken to that voice of intuition, that nudge, whatever it is. Ask. And for those of you who are sitting with us, what is this telling you? What am I feeling? What is coming up? Sitting with that, with compassion, with non-judgment, whatever those feelings are, with compassion, so that you will receive whatever you need to take inspired action. And Audrey, after our conversation in October, I took inspired
Good.
action. I connected. Now I'm in the crypto world. Like, I'm
Wow.
doing it. Oh, Audrey, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm excited about it. Like, it's a lot has shifted over this maybe year and a half of intense, like, thing. Says who? I'm not good at finances. Says who? And this process of questioning from a place of compassion. Who's telling me this? Do
Mhm.
I like feeling like this? Is it making me feel better? Is it working for me? Is it consuming my thoughts? And if
Mhm.
so, what am I going to do? Am I going to hold on to it, or am I going to release it? And then taking the concrete steps to actively process, release that which I knew was keeping my light to a pilot light. That's what one dear former client said. Annalisa, your pilot light is still on. I'm like, oh my God, I was not just meant to have a pilot light on, but thank you so much for seeing that. In my heart, I'm like, thank you. I didn't even think it was there,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
So that's the gift that you're bringing, I think, through this version of this journey, this soulful adventure that you're companioning women on through this new offering. It feels like for me.
Yeah, thank you. And your client or your friend, whoever you spoke to, is right. We
Yeah.
are we are literally all light beings.
Yes.
We are beacons of light, and we have to shine it brighter and brighter and brighter. and especially as we enter darker and darker spaces. And oftentimes, people who do this work feel alone. No one else thinks, or not that no one else thinks like us, but we're often the black sheep. We're often the ones that are misunderstood, and that's okay. And I wear that. I wear the black sheep badge of armor proudly. I am like super happy that I don't think like and think and feel like 99% of the people, and I'm more than happy to shine my light. But it wasn't easy. Like
No.
I knew that if I go down this path, if I step into my truth, which means me speaking up more, stepping, deeper into my unapologetic
Yeah.
self, I'm gonna lose
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
People are gonna think
Yeah.
I'm crazy. People are gonna think like, oh my God, who is she? Like, is she's not a finance person. She can't make millions of dollars. Like who, like, just watch the news, comply. Like
Yeah.
why does she always have to question everything? So it's not easy. And so, but what I've learned to keep my light, my inner light bright is always just to continue to stay in prayer, stay
Yes.
humble. There's a lot of ways in which people spiritually connect. I grew up Catholic, but I'm not religious.
Mm-hmm.
I tap into my own form of spirituality. But with that said, I do love working with Christ, and I do love Jesus as the man, but I also do love looking into things like human design. And
Yeah.
people think that's demonic, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So, so your path is your own path. You are the CEO of your own light. You shine your light the way that you need to shine your light, and however you connect. I know for me personally, I do have a lot of faith. But I believe in a grounded spirituality.
Yeah.
I live in Costa Rica, and so it's a vortex of healers, of I'm going to put it in air quotes, spiritual people, which is
Yeah.
amazing because the conversations are different, and I
Yes.
love them. And I love being up in the clouds, but I also
Mhm.
really love coming back down to earth. So,
Yes.
with ways to connect in how I build my business and how I strategize and how I seek my own inner truth and inner knowing is to make sure that I'm always feeling good about my own decisions.
Yes.
And as much as I love to connect up here, I always want to make sure that I'm humble, that I'm disciplined,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm in humility when I make
Mm.
mistakes. And that's really what's guided me and has made my light super strong and has given me the confidence to speak about what I want to speak about. Like, I don't know, I just in a world of like everyone getting offended by everything,
Yeah.
all of that is noise. You just really got to come back to center, and that's how I've been able to keep my light whole. And so with it just reminded me of what you were talking about with your light and shining it, because we all need to get into that space. I mean, I guess you don't need to do anything, but my point is that shine your light, protect it. It's yours. No one else can dim it unless you allow it.
Yeah.
Everything happens through consent. So yeah.
Yeah. That it, so, it seems so simple. And I think we need to get back to some of these very simple fundamentals, really, right? The
Mhm.
noise that's out there, these distractions are meant to distract. And Audrey, I'm going to share with you back in 2000, I was, an aspiring Catholic school principal,
Mm.
and I was doing my master's at that time. I was driven, much like you, very driven, but the drive it was always soul led. Like, oh my gosh, I want to get my master's, and I'm going to do it in holistic education,
Mhm.
and I'm going to look at spirituality and what spirituality means in the lives of these educators.
Mhm.
And there was this void that was expressed that I was feeling, this disconnect that we're just trying to fill with stuff, more titles, more possessions, but that deeper longing and that deeper knowing
Mhm.
of our inherent value.
Yeah. Yep.
Was
Absolutely.
right. It was just being overshadowed. And so these awakenings at that point, I had this vision of having a place, calling it awakenings, and then all these different things have happened in my life where my heart has said, okay, let's here. And now here I am with you, 25 almost years later, going back to these same elements.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it so fascinating. And so these basic truths stand through whatever is happening in the world outside of
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
This inner
absolutely.
sanctuary of our souls.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
an incredible place.
Yeah, and it's really cool seeing everyone come back to that in their own individuality, but also collectively there's a lot of
Yeah.
people on the same page. So there is stuff that definitely happens within us, but there is stuff that we definitely plug into the collective
Yeah.
and so really with that, if we do plug into whether it's ourselves or into the collective, that we're doing it consciously
Mm-hmm.
versus unconsciously. And I think that's something that we've learned over the last 3 to 4 years is to use discernment,
Yeah.
to be conscious about, what we're consuming, whether it's food, information, relationships, whatever, is to bring consciousness to it. And that might be an overplayed, overused word by a lot of people, or maybe some people find the word consciousness super fluffy, and that's part of that woo woo space, but it's not. Your consciousness is what they're after. Your consciousness is what they're trying to replace with AI.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally. Like they harvest information, the way we think, the way we speak, through technology and through other means, of course. And they're basically trying to replicate human consciousness with a
Mm-hmm.
computer. So I encourage my clients and anyone who follows me to do whatever it takes to keep your consciousness clean,
Yes.
because it's the only thing, regardless of what path you take, regardless of how you're invested, regardless of what food you eat. If you're doing something consciously, AI will never replace you. And what have we seen over the last 4 years? That 99% of people can be programmed at the
Yes.
snap of a finger with one news article, with one news blast. 99% of the population get programmed. They get into
Yes.
groupthink, they get into
Yes.
hive mind, and they learn to turn on each other. And so,
Mm-hmm.
so the more you pay attention and take care of your consciousness, the
Yes.
less you have to play in that game. And as soon as I left Canada, because I know Canada, my parents live in Mississauga, so they're 15 minutes outside of Toronto, but they're still within the GTA, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still in a pocket that's going to be heavily, heavily controlled by smart cities and AI and all of that kind of stuff. When I go
Mm-hmm.
back home, I could feel how dense it is. I could
Yes.
feel that people are in hive mind. I could feel that there's no creative conversations happening. I could feel the disempowerment. And so when I left Canada and I dropped into Costa Rica, I'm like, wow, I don't have to have these conversations anymore. Like, people here, they talk about food, dancing, laughter, and we're in it all the time. We have access to local food all the time. I have water all the time. Like, it's just different once you're able to pull yourself away to see, to be an observer
Yes.
of that. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, the observer, that's so important, right? That shift from the
Hmm.
person who's in it and
Yeah.
reacting and in to one that can step
Hmm.
back.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And I invite everyone to step into that space of being the observer rather than absorbing, because there's a whole lot that we can absorb, and we do it every day, every day, unconsciously, consciously, whatever. But I invite you to step back and observe, even if you're in a densely populated place where smart cities are coming fast and furious. Step back,
Hmm.
because you can still create your own space even within that. And actually, you're probably in that space because you're the beacon of light that has to keep people awake. That's probably why you're in that space. So
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it. But there are people who have like, tougher skin than me. And they're like, no, Audrey. And I know a ton of people that are like, no, I'm sticking here until the end. Like I am going to protect this space. And I'm like, amazing. That is your path.
Mhm.
And I am here to support you however
Mhm.
you need me to.
Mhm.
So,
I
mhm.
love what you're saying here, Audrey, because each soul has a mission.
Yeah.
And I worked at I really worked at separating my own soul's mission from the thousands of immigrants, for example,
Yeah.
who trusted me to
Hmm.
represent this country.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I represented trusted institutions all my life. So I needed to work with that to liberate myself.
Hmm.
And I'm free for my light to shine. But like you say, wherever we are, we have that incredible, the choice,
Hmm.
really, to choose what thoughts are infiltrating the sanctuary of our souls, where we're placing our attention there for our energy. And whether it's in Costa Rica or in downtown Toronto, we're capable of creating sanctuaries and emitting light.
Hmm.
So for those, Audrey, who are feeling right now like, wow, that nudge, or like, there's something more here, this curiosity
Hmm.
as to what you're talking about and what you have to offer and share. How how can someone connect with you?
Yeah. So my page is linked up here, quantum11 .co. It's also the name of my website, www.quantum11.co. But I just opened up my new page probably, I don't know, a month ago, I would say,
Okay.
wealthywoman.co.
Okay.
And it's wealthy woman with a B.
Got it.
Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah, wealthy woman with a B because of it, just in honor of the womb, in honor of our
absolutely.
womb. Um, so those are the two ways, and I service in two different ways. So Quantum 11, I've shifted completely,
Hmm.
is going to service specifically the new earth businesses. So businesses that are going to protect our charter rights to build
Yeah.
systems outside of, big conglomerate, technocratic surveillance state, and the businesses that are really truly going to value, our birthright to freedom and sovereignty. So CFO services for that, and then Wealthy Woman services the woman. And
Yeah.
whether you have children or not, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
just as long as you're connected to the womb. And the reason I'm
Hmm.
so adamant on that is because I've experienced women who despise their womb, and I
Mm.
can't, and I can't do it. That's my
Yeah.
boundary. I can't do it. A woman who wants to stay in her boss bitch state, thinking that she
Yeah.
doesn't need a man, she doesn't need this, she doesn't need that. Like, no, I can't do it. I'm a
Hmm.
single mother, and I'm a single
Yeah.
mother, so I'm operating in my masculine a lot, but I see the
Yeah.
value of an awakened masculine and a man who
Yeah.
steps up. And so that's why I like to stress a woman who is connected to her womb,
Yeah.
because I will get a lot of women coming to me through Wealthy Woman, and they're like, I want to make $5 million and blah blah blah, and there's a different energy to that.
Yes, for sure.
So yeah, it's a completely different energy. So I'm scoping them out for fit just as
Yeah.
much as they're checking me out for fit. So
Yeah.
yeah, so those are the two ways.
And Audrey, are these offerings open? Like, do you close and open them? How does that work?
Uh, So CFO services are client-based services, and they just need to connect with me. We do a discovery call, figure out how long the engagement is, the scope of the engagement. And then on Wealthy Woman, it's private coaching only. So I've closed off all of my group containers. I do have one left that's open, and that ends September 2024. So the group containers will be closed. But
Okay.
so it's all private. So there's no like enrollment time. There's no open. There's no close. It's if you're called to work with me, because it's a resonance. Like I talk about like crazy stuff. So if it doesn't resonate with you, then we're probably not a fit. But if it does, then I will back you up 1,000,000% all day, every day if it's a fit. And if it's not a fit, that's totally okay. I just hope like, whoever does join is really going to connect to themselves, because that's another layer with how I work. Even if I resonate with someone, or even if someone resonates with my message, I truly value radical responsibility. So I don't take clients that are in victim mentality. And it's not that they can't get out of it, but I personally don't have the bandwidth for it. So I'll give you an example. Two people could be hard up in the same situation. Both of them lost their job. Let's keep them even, Steven. Both of them lost their job. One could be like, oh, you know what? But I'm willing to, work through this, create a plan, maybe invest into my own business, do this, do that. And, they are willing to move forward. The other person could be like, I lost my job. My boss did this. My boss did that. And everything is external outside of themselves. I'm not working with that type of energy. It's not the type of energy that I want to work with. So regardless of whether it's a business client or a private client, radical responsibility for your life, for your business. I can't do victim mentality. I used to be such a people pleaser, so I attracted a lot of people who were victim because I would hold them. I would always hold them in their victim, and I would hold them in their victim for like 10 years, 10, 15 years, and it's not serving me, it's not serving them, because we're both not learning. We're just in a codependent, trauma bonded relationship. So it's not to say that I don't take those clients on because I don't have empathy. I do. I lived that life before. And I'm setting the boundary now. So
I love this.
That's the filter for me.
Yes, and that is so important, Audrey. I understand what you're saying completely. As one who is an empath and gives, and people just naturally gravitate towards that, maybe you were one like me. I was a fixer, right? I would always find a way around, through, over, under. It didn't matter, But there comes a point, and what this has taught me is that if someone's not ready, they're not ready. And I learned that a challenging way in my own home with all of this. I think I shared that with you. But and not to allow that to infiltrate my thoughts and dim my light by choosing, like you say, to just set some boundaries. And that just frees up all that energy in a way that is so aligned with who you are, your purpose, your mission, and being in that space where you don't have to backtrack and explain and prove it. Oh my gosh, isn't that so like liberating and energizing? And that's where I find these, possibilities. It's like a fireworks of possibilities. Then, like you're saying, we have that innate gift of creation within us all.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited for you, Audrey, and I am so honored to be surrounded, embraced, held, witnessed, whatever it is, supported in any way, even just knowing this is what you're doing, that we are collectively, our intention is the same, which is so beautiful. And this legacy, that I've got my dad right here, Tony.
Beautiful.
And he epitomized love. Love.
Absolutely.
And the spirit lives on and through. And so processing and making peace with the fact that his last days were not that quote unquote traditional sacred journey, with all of that fanfare and everything else, whatever that goes along with it, because it was during restrictions, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now, in order to, and for some of you out there who are still trying to process losses, I understand these losses, and they have become my greatest lessons that I still revisit. But if you're needing that companionship, that guidance along the way, that's part of the work that I do. It's
Awesome.
part of my mission.
Amazing.
But you need to feel that within, that, you know what, there's a better way. I'm just not sure what it is. And so these trail angels like you and others that have just fallen into, parachute into my life, they are out there. We are out there. We're out there for each other. So I encourage anyone who's feeling, whatever they're feeling, take a step, whatever it is. That bridge will be there. That hand of light will be there for you. I know that to be true. Absolutely. And that's why we're here, soul to soul. Audrey, and all of this beautiful soul family who's joined us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Annalisa.
I thank you, Audrey.
Thank you.
I could never have imagined this, but that is the way. This is the miracle zone we're in now. Everything is possible.
Well, we're multi-dimensional beings, so
Absolutely.
all possibilities exist.
Absolutely. And so, Audrey, I'm going to share with you this little quote. My sister gave me this journal back last year in April. And on the front, and it's a verse I'm going to share with you. And with all mamas, women out here, to remind you that you are clothed with strength and dignity. And you laugh without fear of the future. And that is from Proverbs. Because you know it's the future that you are co-creating, that we are co-creating.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Audrey. I'm very mindful of your time. Gabriel's been so patient. I was thinking maybe he was going to pop up.
Yeah, he will soon. I heard him banging on the door, but
Thank you. Thank you for joining, for creating this space. And I am open to all possibilities, Audrey, and for all of you who are joining. If you would like to share a story, a mission, an invitation, let's connect. Soul to soul.
All right. Thank you.
Many blessings. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Bye.
Ciao.